But here's where we're going to go. If you're listening on the YouTube, that was a weird cutoff because I just ended with Connor Cook. Now we're going to be talking about Kirk Cousins, though. Let's say, as of right now, the Redskins and Kirk Cousins have broken off negotiations. No further talks are scheduled. Another source recently, I'm reading this from the article, recently told ESPN that the two sides were not close in earlier discussions and that the gap had not been closed in the ensuing weeks. Assuming Kirk Cousins hits free agency, Mark, what team is the best fit for the All-American?
It's tough. It really is. I don't necessarily think that there is a team where he can go to and just automatically everything's great. Maybe the Eagles is not a bad move because the Eagles might be sitting there going, hey, Sam Bradford didn't work out that great. Let's try another guy. Not that Sam Bradford was terrible, but he didn't work out great, so let's try somebody else. Another team that might be thinking the same thing, but they're more thinking, yeah, that quarterback did not work out, might be the Rams. Moving to L.A., they need a new quarterback. I don't think you want to go there because it's not a better move. I look at what the Redskins are, a playoff team, a team that wins a division, and then I look at the other teams that are going to need a quarterback. There's nowhere that you're moving up. You're either moving laterally or you're moving back. So do you just want to get away from this management? Because if you want to get away from the management, hell, I don't blame you. But I don't necessarily know that Kirk Cousins wants to do that. I honestly think he's going to stay in Washington. They're going to get it done. They're going to make it happen. Any of these other places, I just don't think there's anything that's that tempting for him to go because he just had a little taste of success. He wants to start. Any of the other teams he can start on, besides maybe like the Houston Texans, I don't think there's anything that's really that appealing to you.
Here's in my mind, I'm going to quickly go down through all 32 teams and tell you how many he could start for. The Bills, I'd say he could start for. Yeah, Tyrod Taylor's pretty good, but he could probably start for the Bills. That's one.
But he has to compete.
He's got to compete. Dolphins? No, Tannehill. Patriots? No, Brady. Jets? Probably no, Fitzpatrick. Ravens? Flacco. Bengals? Dalton. We'll throw the Browns in there because they never have a quarterback that's of any use. The Steelers, Roethlisberger. Texans, we'll throw them into the mix. Colts have Luck. Jags have Bortles. Titans have Mariota. Broncos will have Brock the Cock. Alex Smith, Derek Carr, Phillip Rivers. That rounds out the AFC. Romo, Manning, maybe the Eagles. Redskins make 5. The entire NFC South has quarterbacks to their name. The entire NFC South and North have quarterbacks to their name. And the Rams. 6 teams. To me, the best 2, maybe the Rams, because they are looking for a quarterback.
I think you could throw the 49ers in there.
That's right, because Colin Kaepernick wants out of town on the 49ers. So, unless you want to go play for a Chip Kelly, which I don't know why you would.
I don't think that it just doesn't make sense. Kirk Cousins and Chip Kelly is not something that adds up.
And this is before teams go ahead and select quarterbacks. Like the Browns could select like Carson Wentz, and then we don't need you. We're going to start our guy. The Rams
Browns and the Rams are pretty likely to do this.
The Rams could take Paxton Lynch and say, you know what, we don't need you. Hell, the 49ers could go Jared Goff. We don't need you, Kirk Cousins. Because of the amount of teams that already have a quarterback that's like, okay, yeah, we're good. If I'm Kirk Cousins, I try to do anything to get a deal just with the Redskins.
Yeah, for sure.
Because to me, in the end, it may come down to he either stays with the Redskins, goes to Houston because they're probably going to be scrambling for a quarterback because they made the playoffs. They're not going to be able to get one of those first-round quarterbacks
unless somebody has a bad combine.
Unless the Rams surprise and say, you know what, we're not going to go with a quarterback. We've got Peyton Manning. Unless something like that happens, the Texans are probably going to have to wait till maybe round 2, round 3 to get a quarterback. So Kirk Cousins is probably going to have Redskins, Texans, and then maybe like the Bills, who will say, you know what, we'll sign you. You can compete with Tyrod Taylor in the offseason to win the job.
It also depends for the Bills on how desperate they are because the
They gotta
Ryan
make-
brothers
they gotta
have
make the
1 year.
playoffs.
Yeah, they got to
gotta
make the playoffs. So the defense, was pretty decent. Tyrod Taylor surprised a lot of people for sure.
They got to make the playoffs. That's it.
What do they think about a guy like Kirk Cousins? Is this a guy that they can go and win now? Because they have to get a wild card spot because they're not going to beat Tom Brady.
No, they're not going to beat Tom Brady.
So you're competing for one of two spots. It's pretty narrow.
It's gonna be tougher, and I don't know why Kirk Cousins, like, we don't know if it's Kirk Cousins wanting too much money or if it's the Redskins saying, hey, you know what, this is what we're gonna give you, and they're trying to undercut him.
Yeah.
But Kirk Cousins is in a weird kind of a spot because for the first time in his career, he had success. And he came out and he was you could say, an internet fad for a week or two, maybe even the rest of the season.
I don't know. It was lasting for a while.
I'm saying with the you like that thing. With
that's
how
what I'm
many
saying.
people were quoting that.
People were into
like that. You like that? So
I hated every second of it, personally.
he became kind of this
He's a meme.
successful meme. He became a great, I'm not going to say great, but he became a successful
sexy quarterback.
Yeah, well, he's not sexy Rexy. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
No, but he is the All-American.
But he is the corn-fed All-American. But he had success this season. And yes, when they ran into a real team like the Packers, they lost.
And even then, the Packers arguably weren't that real of a team.
Well, it was
not this year.
It was more real than the Eagles, who they had to beat to just win the division because the Cowboys were so injury-struck. It's weird because usually when you have a successful season like this, you get the big contract.
Yeah.
But in Kirk Cousins' case, it may be another, I'm going to get a long-term deal, but it may not be that mega deal like I hope
And
would
it shouldn't be. And I got to think that he knows he's not going to get
He's
the
not a
mega
Cam
deal.
Newton. He's not a Cam Newton.
It's not like he went in there, started, and blew everybody away, threw for 5,000 yards.
He went 9-7.
Yeah.
9-7.
Well, it's not even, like I'm saying, it's not even like he went out there, threw 40 touchdowns, 5,000 yards. He's not going out there and blowing everybody away.
I mean, he did throw for 4,166, which...
I guess it is a little bit better than I'm thinking
Kirk
it
Cousins.
is.
He had 4,166 yards, 29 touchdowns, 11 INTs. He was sacked 26 times. Wasn't a record-breaking season.
Yeah.
But for Kirk Cousins, it was like, holy shit, where did this come from?
For him, yeah, because he's had the opportunity to take the job away from RG3 in the past. He's just never done it. That was the most shocking thing to me was that, now you're going to go out there and win the job?
Now
you've had
you've
all
got
these years to do it, and now you finally decided, all right, I am going to turn it on. It blew my mind for that case, but
he finished
I don't know.
10th overall in yards for quarterbacks this season.
So it's actually pretty good. But at the same time, and I'm not trying to take anything away from him, I'm not trying to just kind of defend what I was saying before, but if he threw for, 5,000 yards over that, he might be able to say, hey, I am the real deal. But a lot of times, I think people are going to be sitting there going, is this a flash in the pan? Is this a one-time thing? Is this a fluke? I'm not sure. And I think that's what's going to scare off management from giving him the mega deal.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at, let's take the top three quarterbacks from just this year. You have the top three for yardage. We had Drew Brees at 4,870. Phillip Rivers had 4,792. Tom Brady with 770 yards. And if we look at their stats from year to year, looking at Brees first, the past 2 years he's been over 4,000. He's had at least 4,000 yards since 2006. And except for these final 2 years, he had a 3-year span from 11 and 13 where he was an over 5,000 yard quarterback. And he also had 46, 43, 39, 33, 32 touchdowns this year.
Yeah.
So that's something where you see it's like, okay, this is consistent. With Phillip Rivers, he's had over 4,000 yards Since 2008, however, I will say 2012, he did only have 3,600. So since '08, he's had every year except one being over 4,000 yard season. And then the GOAT, Tom Brady, has had over 4,000 yards since, we're going to take 2008 out of it because that was the one where he played that one game and got injured. But ever since like 2005, except for maybe 2 years, he's had over 4,000 yards. In 2011, he had 5,200.
Yeah. So he just doesn't have the body of work. I mean, that's really what it comes down to.
Are we talking about a college team right now? You said the key word. You said body of work.
It's true. You need to see more out of the guy. I mean, that's the only thing we have seen, really, college and then this past season. Mm-hmm. So you got to see a little bit more. They're going to be smart. They're not going to just give it straight to him, I think,
Because if I were the Redskins, I would say, and it's kind of hard because right now Kirk Cousins, 27. And you're 20, you're going to be turning 25. And so he's 2 years older than you. He's a year older than myself. He's actually an Illinois guy. He was born in Barrington, Illinois. But still, I'm going to say still a young kid.
Oh, for sure.
Because even me at 26, I have moments where it's like, holy crap, I'm not a full functioning adult yet. Where it's like, I'm an adult, but I'm not a adult. And I'm going to use air quotes for that. To where he's probably like, you know what? I had this great season. I'm the man. Give me my money. Blah, 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 blah. And the Redskins are kind of like, it's kind of like when your parents are trying to talk to you and they're like, Mark, this is the deal. And you're just sitting there going, no. I know everything. This is how it's going to be.
I do know everything.
That's what this is. And the Redskins are like the parent where it's like, okay, Kurt, you had a great season, but you need a few more. Here's the money that you deserve. And he's going, no. Cam Newton, blah, 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 blah. I deserve this. Mm-hmm. And that's why we're in this dispute. That's what I think. Sooner rather than later, Kurt's going to get it to where, okay, I need one more contract, and if I can prove over this contract that I can consistently be what I was this season, then I'll get the big bucks.
Yeah. For Kirk Cousins, my advice, and I hope his agent is saying this, take something short. Just get maybe 1 or 2 years. Deal. Yep. Just get something short. Prove yourself, because then you got nobody to blame but yourself. Mm-hmm. You don't want to be Matt Flynn, who goes out there, gets that big deal, and then is backing up, the next 3 teams that he goes to. You don't want to do that. Not at all. Go, earn your paycheck, then you can cash out.
Well, and that is going to do it this week for the Onside Kick. I want to thank you guys for checking out this podcast. If you're listening to us on SoundCloud, go ahead, hit the follow button, the repost button. Go ahead, hit that heart button. If you're on YouTube, hit the like and subscribe button. Also, share this podcast with all of your friends. If you're on mostvaluablepodcast.com, go ahead and bookmark the page so you're up to date with everything that goes on with Most Valuable Podcast. And if you're listening on iTunes, rate the podcast on iTunes.
That's right.
Give us a little bit of a rate on iTunes. Tell us how good of a job, hopefully, how good of a job we did on this podcast. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Ricky Widmer. Mark is at the with 2 E's. Mark Weber, Most Valuable Podcast, is at Most Valuable Pod. Want to thank you guys once again for checking out this podcast. But as always, have a good day, everybody.
Thank you for listening to this MVP podcast. Follow us on Twitter at Most Valuable Pod for more great podcasts.